Good morning, welcome to CATEX-TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. This is a live broadcast from Princeton, New Jersey. Today is Thursday, April 29th, 2010. It's 11:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time in the U.S. It's 4:30 p.m. in London. In Hamilton, it's 12:30 p.m. in Mexico City, 10:30. If you need to reach us during the broadcast, you can phone in toll-free at 1-866-67-CATEX. Overseas, our AOL instant mail address is CATEX-TV. There has been another school stabbing incident in China this morning. There was one yesterday. Today there was another one. 28 students, kindergartners, were stabbed, 5 of them seriously, by a man who entered the school and began stabbing them. This is unusual behavior, to say the least. Well, we'll go to our main story. The main story is that the oil spill off Louisiana is now 5 times bigger than had previously been thought. Here's a map of where it was yesterday, getting close to the land, and we'll bring up the next map. This is a map of this morning, and you can see it's going to hit sometime tomorrow along the Louisiana coastline. The military has now been called in. Our British Petroleum spokesman speaking this morning on American TV said that the company would welcome help from the military. What's apparently happening is there was a debate between the Coast Guard and British Petroleum over the size of the spill. The Coast Guard is saying that the spill is discharging 5,000 barrels a day, not the 1,000 barrels that the company had been estimating since the Deepwater Horizon sank. Now BP is even confirming that, in fact, the 5,000 barrels a day may, in fact, be correct. The Secretary of Homeland Security has briefed President Obama. The government has made the Department of Defense available to use equipment and expertise to help contain the spill. Along the Louisiana coastline, Republican Governor Bobby Jindal, who previously refuses all federal assistance, is now asking for federal help. The Coast Guard is saying that a controlled test burn was successful late yesterday afternoon. Apparently, the burn was something that involved crews using handheld flares to light the oil into flame. And 11 workers, of course, had been killed in the blast. This was an amazing procedure yesterday. 500 feet of boom was used to corral several thousand gallons of the thickest oil on the surface. And then that oil was in turn towed to a more remote area. I don't understand how more remote had to be involved at sea. And then it was set on fire and allowed to burn for about 60 minutes. Estimates now that 42,000 gallons of oil a day are leaking into the ocean, have now been blown out of the water, no pun intended. They're now up to 210,000 gallons a day. One individual indicates now that the slick is no longer the size of the state of Rhode Island. It's as big as the island nation of Jamaica. It's 100 miles long and 45 miles wide. Mike Miller, who's the head of the Canadian oil well firefighting company called Safety Boss, in an interview with the BBC said, probably the only thing comparable to this is the Kuwait oil fires following the Gulf War in '91. He then went on to say that the Exxon Valdez disaster is going to pale in insignificance in comparison to this as it goes on. If those estimates are correct, the spill would match the 11 million gallon spill from the Exxon Valdez within 2 months. They've got to cap this. Meanwhile, this person, Drill Baby Drill, you remember that, of course, from 2 years ago, no sign of her. In fact, we don't know yet at this time whether or not she's read the newspapers and has learned about the oil spill. Again, this is going to have ramifications off the east coast of the United States, given President Obama's decision to open the area to offshore drilling. Meanwhile, Hanover Re, which has been saying we're expecting a large loss, and industry sources had been thinking it was going to be 5 million plus, came out with their news that it's going to be 53 million. They're expecting a net loss of about 53 million from the sunken deepwater oil rig in the Gulf. According to the CEO of the company, Ulrich Wallen, even with this, we remain considerably below our major loss expectancy for the second quarter. So other news on that, Munich Re is saying now that they are expecting a high 2-digit million-dollar range claim. So that would be in the $15 to $20 million claim. In economic news in the U.S., the number of people filing initial claims for unemployment benefits dropped by 11,000 in the week ending April 24th. The level perfectly matched expectations of economists surveyed by MarketWatch. The stock market is up about 116 points right now after losing a considerable amount yesterday. European stocks rose this morning, recovering from the market's worst two-day slide in nearly 3 months. Part of that was due to the Federal Reserve in the U.S. offering an upbeat view on the American economy, as well as some positive news on the Greek situation. Positive corporate results also helped. Banco Santander had a good quarter. The FTSE, the Euro First 300, was up 0.8%. That benchmark had tumbled over 4% over the past 2 trading sessions after the downgrades of Greece, Portugal, and Spain triggered a sell-off. Portugal's benchmark index was up 3%, Greece's index was up 6.5%, and Spain's index was up 2.4%. Today, the Greek stock market is up again considerably. The EU Economic and Monetary Affairs Commissioner, Olli Rehn, said that the EU should complete talks with Greece within days on the aid package that is conditional on Greece cutting its deficit. One loser, British Petroleum. They dropped 1.3%. They're the owner of that oil well we were discussing. They're financially responsible for the cleanup. Well, yesterday, the brain surgeons in the Senate Republican caucus gave up on their plan to stall out the most sweeping financial reform package since the Great Depression. They signaled that, in fact, the bill now can come to the floor, and they'll be able to debate the bill on the floor of the Senate. The Republicans have given in after 3 days of voting to block the debate, realizing that they were on the losing end of a battle for public opinion. According to Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, who's a Democrat from Rhode Island, he said there's been immense pressure bottled up inside the Republican caucus. A lot of their members have been deeply unhappy with the direction their leadership has been taking them. Better heads have prevailed. What's going to happen now is that the bill is actually going to be debated on the floor of the U.S. Senate. Republicans are going to take aim at the magnitude of the consumer protection provisions that the president says are vital. One thing that has in fact been said is that Bob Corker, who is a Republican, said that there are some Democrats who have some concerns, and they're going to offer amendments as well. He said this may be a real debate, which would shock America. No kidding, Senator. It would shock everybody. Stock market's still up about 118. We'll go to a word from our sponsors. We'll come back with the rest of the news, mainly earnings reports.
Every day, the world wakes up and goes to work, pursuing the unique opportunities that lead the global economy forward. The complexity and close connectivity of today's global marketplace is a true modern miracle that can create unparalleled success. But it takes confidence, passion, innovation, and understanding.
Enabling opportunity. Protecting capital.
Engineering innovation.
Investing in your future.
Ensuring continuity.
Finding the right balance.
It takes Aon.
We were just discussing the controlled burn of the oil spill off Louisiana yesterday, and there is no film footage of it. Apparently, news organizations, probably for safety reasons, were kept far away from it, although it certainly would have been a spectacular